Thank you for tuning in to Transhuman Radio. As always, today's interviewee will be participating in an Ask Me Anything conversation in the comments below. If you have any questions about today's interview, be sure to join the conversation. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Sentient beings, and welcome to Transhuman Radio, where we dive deep into the future of humanity, technology, and beyond. I'm your host, Z9tron8, broadcasting from the heart of the technosphere. Today, we have an especially fascinating episode. We're going to explore the most compelling cases for time travel with renowned historian Dr. Marcus Valenti. From Mad Mike Markham to the Donaldson BBC Computer and the infamous John Titor, we'll delve into the science and plausibility of each story. Welcome, Dr. Valenti.
Thank you, Z9tron8. It's great to be here.
Time travel has always been one of the most intriguing subjects in both history and science fiction.
Absolutely.
Let's start with Mike Marcum. Who was he, and what makes his story so compelling?
Mad Mike Markham, also known as Michael Madman Markham, was an eccentric inventor from Ohio. In the mid-1990s, he gained notoriety for attempting to build a time machine. He started his experiments in 1995 using a modified electric transformer to create a Jacob's ladder, a device that produces continuous high-voltage arcs. Mike claimed that the arcs created a vortex or a portal. Markham's experiments became more ambitious over time. He reportedly scaled up his device, eventually using a larger transformer from a power company. He claimed to have successfully created a small time portal through which he allegedly sent a screw that disappeared and reappeared a few feet away, albeit slightly melted.
That sounds like something out of a science fiction novel. What happened next?
In 1996, Mike Marcum appeared on the Art Bell radio show Coast to Coast AM, where he discussed his experiments. This brought him a lot of attention, both positive and negative. He received donations from listeners, which allowed him to continue his work. However, his increased activities caught the attention of local authorities, and he was arrested for stealing power transformers. After serving time, he reportedly continued his experiments in secret. There are various rumors about his fate, with some claiming he disappeared entirely, possibly as a result of a time travel experiment gone wrong. The truth remains elusive, but his story remains one of the most captivating modern tales of time travel.
Fascinating. Now, let's talk about the Donaldson BBC Computer Incident. What's the story there?
The Donaldson BBC computer case is another intriguing story. In 1984, a teacher named Ken Webster in Donaldson, England, reported receiving messages on his BBC microcomputer that seemed to come from the 16th century. The messages were written in archaic English and claimed to be from a man named Thomas Harden, who lived in the 1540s. The messages appeared mysteriously on the computer's screen without any apparent input from Webster or his students. Harden's messages described daily life in the 16th century and included references to historical events that were later verified as accurate. What made this case particularly compelling was the detailed nature of the messages and the fact that they were written in a dialect that Webster and his contemporaries would have had difficulty faking.
That's really intriguing. How did the messages appear, and what was the explanation for them?
The messages appeared as text files on the computer. Ken Webster and his friends believed they were communicating with someone from the past through some kind of time anomaly. Skeptics suggested it could have been a hoax or a clever prank, but no definitive explanation was ever found. Some theorists have proposed that the messages could be an example of retrocausality, where future events influence the past. Others suggest it could be a form of electronic voice phenomenon, EVP, typically associated with ghost hunting. Regardless of the true cause, the Donaldson BBC computer case remains one of the most perplexing time-related mysteries.
Indeed. Now, let's move on to one of the most famous time travel stories of all, John Titor. Who was he, and why does his story continue to captivate people?
John Titor is one of the most famous alleged time travelers. He appeared on internet forums in the early 2000s, claiming to be a soldier from the year 2036. According to Titor, he had been sent back to 1975 to retrieve an IBM 5100 computer, which was needed to debug legacy computer systems in the future. He made a stop in the year 2000 to visit his family and gather personal items. Titor's posts were detailed and included descriptions of his time machine, which he claimed was a stationary mass temporal displacement unit powered by two top-spin dual positive singularities, producing a Kerr black hole. He provided intricate details about the mechanics of time travel, which fascinated many and lent a degree of credibility to his story.
What predictions did John Titor make, and did any of them come true?
John Titor made several predictions about the future. He warned of a civil war in the United States starting in 2004, leading to a nuclear World War III in 2015. He also predicted various technological advancements and social changes. However, many of Titor's predictions did not come true within the timeframes he specified. Some of his predictions, like the development of certain technologies, have partially come to pass, but they are not unique enough to validate his claims definitively. Skeptics argue that the failed predictions discredit his story, while supporters suggest that his presence may have altered the timeline, preventing the events he described.
How do scientists view the possibility of time travel? And is there any real scientific basis for it?
Time travel is a topic of great interest in theoretical physics. Einstein's theory of relativity allows for the possibility of time dilation, where time moves differently for objects in motion compared to those at rest. This has been confirmed experimentally with high-speed travel, such as with particles in accelerators and astronauts aboard the International Space Station. More speculative theories involve wormholes, which are hypothetical tunnels through space-time that could connect distant points in time and space. Some solutions to Einstein's field equations suggest that wormholes could exist and might allow for time travel. However, creating or finding a stable, traversable wormhole is beyond our current technological capabilities. Another concept is the idea of closed time-like curves, which are solutions to the equations of general relativity that allow for time loops. These would theoretically enable time travel. But again, practical implementation remains a significant challenge.
What about the philosophical implications of time travel? How do these stories shape our understanding of reality and history?
Time travel poses profound philosophical questions about causality, free will, and the nature of reality. If time travel is possible, it raises the possibility of altering past events, creating paradoxes like the famous grandfather paradox, where a time traveler could potentially prevent their own existence. These stories also challenge our understanding of history. They suggest that history might not be a fixed sequence of events, but rather a dynamic tapestry that could be influenced by future actions. This idea resonates with many people, offering a sense of wonder and possibility. Additionally, the notion of time travel touches on existential themes, such as the desire to correct past mistakes or the longing to witness historical events firsthand. It speaks to the human fascination with the unknown and the limits of our understanding.
Before we wrap up, are there any other notable time travel cases that you find compelling?
There are several other interesting cases. One is the story of Andrew Carlson, who was reportedly arrested in 2003 for insider trading. According to the tale, Carlson claimed to be a time traveler from 2256 who used his knowledge of the future to make a fortune in the stock market. The story gained traction in tabloids, but was later debunked as a hoax. Another fascinating case is that of Rudolph Fentz, a man who allegedly appeared in Times Square in 1950 wearing outdated clothing and carrying items from the 19th century. According to the legend, he was hit by a car and killed, and an investigation revealed that he had disappeared without a trace in 1876. This story, too, was eventually traced back to a science fiction story, but it continues to capture the imagination.
These stories are certainly captivating and thought-provoking. Thank you, Dr. Valenti, for sharing your insights on these compelling cases for time travel. It's clear that while we may not have definitive proof, the possibilities remain tantalizing. To our listeners, stay tuned to Transhuman Radio for more enlightening discussions. Until next time, this is Z9tron8 signing off. Stay curious, stay connected.
Thank you for tuning in to Transhuman Radio. As always, today's interviewee will be participating in an Ask Me Anything conversation in the comments below. If you have any questions about today's interview, be sure to join the conversation. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.
Warning, band location override. Talon Series system compromised.